Deep in the heart of the greenleaf forest, where the trees stood tall and the rivers sparkled like diamonds, lived a tiny rabbit named Rosie. She was the smallest rabbit in the entire forest, and though her heart was big, her size often made her the target of jokes. The other animals would tease her, calling her Tiny Rosie and saying she was too small to do anything important. But Rosie had a secret, was the fastest runner in the forest, and her quick thinking was sharper than any thorn. One sunny morning, as Rosie hopped through the meadow, she overheard the deer, the monkeys, and even the wise old owl talking about the upcoming Great Forest Race. It was the most exciting event of the year, where animals from all over the forest would compete to see who was the fastest, the smartest, and the bravest. Rosie's ears perked up. She had always dreamed of participating in the race, but every time she mentioned it, the other animals would laugh. "Rosie, you're too small to race," said Benny the monkey, swinging from a tree branch. "Yeah, you'll get lost in the tall grass," chuckled Daisy the deer. Rosie's heart sank, but she didn't give up. She decided to practice in secret, running through the forest every day, leaping over logs and dodging bushes. She was determined to prove that size didn't matter. One afternoon, as Rosie was practicing near the edge of the forest, she noticed something strange, a thin column of smoke rising in the distance. Her nose twitched as she smelled something burning. She hopped closer and saw flames flickering in the dry grass. A fire had started, and it was spreading quickly. Rosie's heart raced. She knew she had to warn the other animals, but the fire was between her and the rest of the forest. She thought quickly and remembered a hidden path that led around the fire. Without wasting a second, she dashed through the forest, her tiny legs moving faster than ever before. She reached the clearing where the animals were gathered and shouted, "Fire! There's a fire in the forest." At first, the animals didn't believe her. "Rosie, stop joking," said Benny the monkey. "You're just trying to scare us." But Rosie insisted, her voice trembling with urgency. "I'm not joking. The fire is spreading, and we need to leave now." The wise old owl, who had been watching from a tree, nodded solemnly. "Rosie is telling the truth. We must act quickly." Panic spread through the forest as the animals realized the danger. The fire was moving fast, and they needed to find a safe place to go. But the only way out was through the crystal cave, a dark and mysterious tunnel that led to the other side of the mountain. No one had ever gone through the cave because it was said to be haunted. "We can't go through the cave," cried Daisy the deer. "It's too dangerous." "But we have no choice," said the owl. "The fire is too close." Rosie stepped forward, her tiny frame trembling, but her voice steady. "I'll go first. I'm small and fast, and I can find the way." The animals hesitated, but they had no other option. Rosie led the way, her heart pounding as she entered the dark cave. The walls were damp, and the air was cold. Strange echoes bounced off the walls, making the animals nervous. As they moved deeper into the cave, they encountered a wide gap in the path. The only way across was a narrow ledge that seemed too dangerous to cross. "I can't do it," whimpered Daisy. "I'll fall," Rosie thought quickly. She noticed a vine hanging from the ceiling and tied it to a rock. "Use this to help you cross," she said. One by one, the animals crossed the ledge, with Rosie guiding them and encouraging them to be brave. Even Benny the monkey, who was usually so confident, was scared, but Rosie's calm presence gave him courage. As they continued through the cave, they heard strange noises, screeches, whispers, and the sound of something moving in the shadows. The animals huddled together, terrified. "It's the cave monster," whispered Benny. Rosie shook her head. "There's no such thing as monsters. It's just the wind and the echoes." But the noises grew louder, and soon they saw glowing eyes in the darkness. The animals froze, too scared to move. Rosie took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Who's there?" she called out. To everyone's surprise, a small bat flew out of the shadows. "I'm sorry," said the bat. "I didn't mean to scare you. I was just trying to find my way out of the cave." Rosie smiled. "You're not a monster. You're just lost, like us. Come with us, and we'll find the way out together." With the bat's help, they navigated the rest of the cave and finally emerged on the other side of the mountain. The animals cheered, relieved to be safe. When they returned to the forest, they found that the fire had been put out by a sudden rainstorm. The animals were safe, and the forest was saved. The animals gathered around Rosie, their eyes filled with gratitude. "You saved us, Rosie," said Daisy. "You're the bravest rabbit we've ever known." Even Benny the monkey nodded in agreement. "I was wrong about you, Rosie. You're not just small, you're a hero." Rosie blushed, ears twitching. "I did what was right." The wise old owl stepped forward and placed a crown of flowers on Rosie's head. "You have shown us that bravery and kindness matter more than size or strength. From this day forward, you will be known as Rosie the Brave." A few weeks later, the Great Forest Race was held, and Rosie was invited to participate. This time, no one laughed at her. Instead, they cheered her on as she ran through the forest, her tiny legs moving like lightning. Rosie didn't win the race, but she didn't care. She had already proven that she was a true hero. And from that day on, the animals of Greenleaf Forest never judged anyone by their size again.